The 1980s were a very special year for horror movies. Friday the 13th, Hellraiser, Poltergeist, Christine, A Nightmare on Elm Street, The Shining, The Thing, Cannibal Holocaust. Don't don't watch that one. But there's a very special movie that came out in 1981. A movie that would truly define my love for horror movies. Saturday the 14th. The Evil Dead was released on October 15th, 1981. Directed and written by Sam Raimi in his directorial debut, this movie started a long-running franchise, with many sequels, comics, games, reboots, and even a TV show. What's crazy to me is that this movie had an extremely small budget of $350,000, and easily it made it back, grossing over $2 million in the States and nearly $30 million worldwide. I'm gonna say this right now, I love Evil Dead. It's one of my favorite franchises of all time, with Evil Dead 2 and Evil Dead Rise being some of my favorite horror movies of all time. Army of Darkness and the Evil Dead remake are also really good. Eventually we'll get to those, the show, the games, and even the comics. But for now, the only one we're talking about is the one about a cabin in the woods. Wait, wrong movie. We start the movie where we meet our main leads. Scott, played by Richard Delamincor, Linda, played by Betsy Baker, Shelley, played by Teresa Tilly, fuck, I'm really bad with names, Cheryl, played by Ellen Sanders, and Cheryl's brother, Ash, played by Bruce Campbell. Fuck, I'm really bad with names. Fuck. The movie immediately sets an unsettling tone by showing you someone, or something, is already in the forest, by cutting between the group and the camera swaying through the trees. Now, you might be wondering, why are a group of teenagers going into a random forest?
Hey, Scotty, what's this place like anyway?
Well, the guy that's renting it says it's an old place. A little run down, but it's right up in the mountains. And the best part is we get it so cheap.
Yeah, why are we getting it so cheap?
Well, I don't know. Might be in real bad shape.
They eventually cross an extremely safe and sturdy bridge.
A rock.
I'm sure that's not going to be important later. Another short scene I really like is when they're driving. A short one-shot take as they slowly drive towards the cabin. You can see a few branches hitting the camera. Another notification that shows us, the audience, that they were doomed from the beginning. Nighttime hits as they stay in the cabin. We see Cheryl sketching a clock on the wall, but something goes wrong as soon as the clock stops. We move on to the group sitting down to eat, which gives us some good bonding moments with the characters.
As a Greek friend of mine once said, he said, Oh, okay. Nis. Tu tarim.
Which means?
Party down! Yeah!
The cellar door opens by itself, and they all decide to go check on it. Since they're all pussies, Scott decides to go check by himself. As the rest of the group start to get worried, eventually Ash goes down too. We then get a 3-minute scene as Ash slowly searches through the cellar. The music slowly rises as Ash carefully peers through each room with nothing but leaky pipes as the background noise. After Ash and Scott meet back up with each other, Scott decides to show Ash a desk full of trinkets. A poster that references The Hills Have Eyes made by Wes Craven, a shotgun, which Scotty points at Ash with absolutely no sense of gun safety, you fucking asshole, and a strange book with a face on it, as well as a strange looking dagger.
This kind of looks like your old girlfriend.
The two eventually go back upstairs, bringing the book and dagger with them. as well as a recorder they found. Ash decides to play the tape with everyone.
It has been a number of years since I began excavating the ruins of Kandar with a group of my colleagues. Now my wife and I have retreated to a small cabin in the solitude of these mountains. Here I continued my research undisturbed by the myriad distractions of modern civilization and far from the groves of academe. I believe I have made a significant find in the Kandarian rune, a volume of ancient Sumerian burial practices and funerary incantation. It is entitled Naturan de Manta, roughly translated, Book of the Dead. The first few pages warn that these enduring creatures may lie dormant, but are never truly dead. They may be recalled to active life through the incantations presented in this book. It is through recitation of these passages that the demons are given license to possess the living.
Cheryl decides to stop the recording, as it's clearly making her uneasy. Scott, the asshole, decides to turn the recording back on. As soon as he continues it, the man on the recording starts chanting, as something starts emerging from the ground. Cheryl starts to get more and more distressed as it continues, and finally...
Cheryl, where are you
I
going?
can't believe this. Scott, you knew not to play that. I mean, come on, you knew it was upsetting you. You just don't know when you're taking something too far. Hey, don't give me that. You were playing it too. You could have shut it off. I mean, big deal. She's nuts. I mean, it's just a joke. Come on. Jesus Christ. She acts like she's 3.
Later on, we see Ash holding a small box while waiting for Linda. As Linda opens the box, we see it's a magnifying glass necklace.
Ash, how sweet of you.
Oh, I guess she's happy with it, I guess. Oh, one more thing. Remember the scene for later. After that, we move to an outside perspective as the entity that's watching Ash and Linda moves towards Scotty and Shelly, and eventually goes to Cheryl. We can hear a voice chanting in the background, and so does Cheryl. We can clearly see that the thing from outside has been targeting her ever since the beginning. Because this is a horror movie, Cheryl decides to go outside and check it out. Okay. The next scene is actually very well done, to be honest. The moon looming over the background, the fog slowly overshadowing everything, and nothing but crickets as background noise. And it slowly rises up until...
I know someone's out there. I heard you. I heard you in the cellar.
Strange noises that keep coming from the darkness as Cheryl gets more and more frightened. We cut back and forth between Cheryl and the entity knocking down trees as the music gets more and more rampant. Fuck. I'm not redoing that. Fuck it. Ugh. The branches slowly come towards Cheryl and start ripping off her clothes. She screams as the branches wrap over her arms and neck, and okay, I'm gonna stop there. When it comes to the content of the movie, it's a really well done scene. It's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable and horrified. But there are very good reasons for why people don't like this scene. The tree rape scene... I wrote that into the fucking script. The tree rape scene was one of the most controversial parts of the movie. And as I said before, I think the scene does what it's intended to do. It's supposed to showcase how horrifying and evil these things are. It's clearly meant to make the audience feel shocked and disgusted. But even then, there are a few problems. The way it's shot is also kind of distasteful, with her moaning and multiple shots of her exposed breasts. Oh my fucking god, I can't fucking read my own fucking script. I was talking about Mario for my last video. Like, the next video was supposed to be Kirby. It was supposed to be Kirby. But no, I needed a horror video. So after Mario, fucking Evil Dead. Fucking Evil Dead after Mario. I needed a video for October, and the Kirby video was taking too fucking long. Fuck. Also, the scene just feels very tonally disconnected from the entire film. Sam Raimi himself even regretted putting the scene in. The weirdest part about this scene is its history throughout the series. Spoilers for the later Evil Dead reviews. It's referenced in Evil Dead 2 and the There's an indirect reference in Evil Dead 2 and a very clear direct reference in the Evil Dead remake. Anyways, what was I talking about again? Oh, right. Cheryl escapes the trees as she makes her way back to the cabin. The scene gets more and more tense as she reaches the door and desperately tries to open it. Ash, obviously being concerned, asks her what's wrong.
In the woods do this to you?
No, it was the woods themselves. They're alive, Ashley. The trees. They're alive.
She eventually convinces Ash to drive her back into town. Once they get in the car, Ash tries to start it.
I know it's not gonna start. It's not gonna let us leave.
Ash slowly drives back, but for some reason stops and gets out of the car. Eventually, Cheryl gets out of the car to look for Ash. As Cheryl walks around the darkness, she finds a horrifying sight. Cheryl's desperate cries really make this scene, along with the only light source coming from the headlights of the car, and the music. The music really helps as well. Ash and Cheryl go back to the cabin, with Ash grabbing the recorder so he can finish it on his own.
Has become host to a Kandarian demon. I fear that the only way to stop those possessed by the spirits of the book is through the act of bodily dismemberment. I would leave now to avoid this horror, but for myself, I have seen the dark shadows moving in the woods, and I have no doubt that whatever I have resurrected through this book is sure to come calling for me.
While he's listening to that, Linda and Shelley play a card game in the background.
Diamonds. No, wait, hearts.
Oh my god, 7 of hearts, you're right.
Hey, Ash, I guessed the card right.
Yeah, truly amazing, Linda.
As they continue, Cheryl starts immediately guessing the cards that Shelley has.
4 of hearts. 8 of spades.
As her voice starts to get harsher and deeper, you probably know what's gonna happen next. Cheryl's body moves around like a puppet as the demon taunts and threatens them.
Awakened us from our ancient slumber. You will die like the others before you. One by one, we will take you.
Cheryl's body drops to the floor, lifeless. As Ash and Linda try to check up on Cheryl, her arm grabs a pencil, and somehow, with 2 people next to her, no one sees it. She suddenly pops back up and She suddenly pops back up and fucking stabs Linda in the fucking foot. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. She easily overpowers Ash when he tries to grab her, throwing him into a shelf that fucking falls on top of him. And even Scott gets shoved away when he tries to stop her. Scotty's finally able to subdue the possessed Cheryl with the butt of an axe and a kick to the fucking face, which sends her straight into the cellar. With Cheryl possessed and Linda out of commission, the other three discuss what they should do, with Shelley taking the situation very well.
For God's sake, what happened to her eyes?
She tries to clear her head in a room all alone, and I'm pretty sure you know what happens next. Hearing that noise, Scott decides to go check up on Shelley. After looking for a while, it seems that Shelley just disappeared. With that, the possessed Shelley claws at Scotty. He then throws Shelley into the goddamn fireplace. While Shelley continues to strangle Scott, Ash tries to get her off, immediately failing in the process. Man, this Ash guy is pretty pathetic. It's a miracle how he's managed to survive for this long. Shelley then grabs a dagger that was left on the floor and tries to stab Scott, with him retaliating with his own knife. Shelley then bites through her own damn wrist as the two look on in horror. The gore and sound design in the scene is fantastic, but I'll discuss the practical effects for later on. I'll just say for now, the effects of this movie are its biggest strength and weakness. You know, I got kind of sick during the recording of this video, so just bear with me. My voice is really killing me at this point. Scott then grabs Shelley's arm and stabs her with it. It's seemingly able to take her down. She then starts spilling out blood and milk for some reason. After that, Scotty decides to go check the body. Scott begs Ash to hit her with the axe, but since Ash is a pussy, he just stands there in pure shock. Scott goes fucking ham on Shelley as he chops off all her limbs. What's really cool about this shot here is that they had multiple people sticking out their limbs from holes in the floor. Ash and Scott then decide to go take the mangled corpse of Shelley outside and bury it. The two then decide to talk about what they should do next, with Scotty just wanting to leave as soon as possible.
I think what's a leg getting out of here. Scott, we can't take Linda anywhere with a leg like that. We don't even know if there is any other way back besides the bridge.
Ash brings up that Linda is still injured, with Scotty still not giving a shit. Real quick, let's just stop here for a sec and talk about the acting. I will give the movie credit where it's due. I love the Deadites in this movie. But wait, they're never called Deadites in this movie. They're extremely creepy and a highlight for the movie. Cheryl especially is great, and we'll get even more great scenes later on. But for most of the entire movie, a lot of the dialogue is pretty stilted. I'll try not to harp on this too much because the movie is extremely low budget, with all of these actors pretty much being first timers. So I don't expect A-grade acting, but scenes like this really stick out to me. Anyways, Scott leaves on foot, leaving Ash all alone. Ash then decides to go check up on Linda. With Linda possessed, Ash and Scott, who just came back after he was injured, are the only ones left. With Scotty basically out of commission, we now focus all of our attention to Ash. With the two Deadites crackling like crazy and Scotty basically at death's door, we start to see Ash's sanity start to really crack, fucking bitch slapping Linda over and over just to make her stop. Eventually, Ash decides to use the shotgun until
Oh, Ash, help me, please.
Linda is seemingly normal, as well as Cheryl.
Ashley, help me. Let me out of here. Ashley? Ash, help me. Let me out of here. I'm all right now. I'm all right now, Ashley. I'm all right. Unlock this chain and let me out.
Cheryl?
I'm all right now, Ashley. Come on, lock the chain and let me out. I'm all right now. It's your sister, Cheryl.
You bastards! Why are you torturing me like this? Why?
I love the Deadites. Although they get even better later on in the series, they're still really good here too. They have a really good mix of being campy and funny, but also creepy and terrifying. Ash just decides to drag Linda outside and just leave her out there. Okay, I guess. Getting water for Scotty, Ash is hopeful that they can all leave by sunrise.
Sun will be up in an hour or so, and we can all get out of here together. You, me, Linda, Shelley. No, not Shelley. We'll all be going home together. Wouldn't you like to be going home? Bet you'd like that, wouldn't you? Scott?
We have now entered the final portion of the movie, with Ash as our definitive lead. He and Linda get into a fight with Cheryl even assisting a bit. Ash is finally able to stab Linda with the dagger, causing her to spurt out more milk again. Why? Ash brings Linda to the shed, and he restrains her. And then we get to see the chainsaw. Something very special for this series later on, but for now, as he's about to dismember Linda, he chickens out when he looks at the necklace. Because it's really hard to butcher the body of the woman you love. Without dismembering her, Ash starts digging a grave to bury her. With Cheryl escaping, we get a scene referencing that bit earlier in the movie. After Ash buries Linda, he sees the necklace, and he goes to... You know, I think it's time to talk about the effects of this movie. They're good. Mostly. The low budget actually makes the makeup of the Deadites work really well, giving an off and unsettling look, especially when it comes to the eyes. What's funny about this is that the actors were basically blind when wearing those contacts. But there are some points where the makeup doesn't really look that good. Sometimes they just decide to change the entire face at points, just like the scene we're talking about. Oh yeah. Ash gets his leg fucked by Linda, with him retaliating with a giant piece of fucking wood. Ash finally ends off Linda by decapitating her with a goddamn shovel. Holy shit. But that doesn't even stop her, with her body still attacking him and her head just taunting him. Ash makes it back to the cabin and discovers that Cheryl escaped from the cellar. He eventually finds and shoots her. Oh my god, kill it with fire! After decimating her hand, he goes to lock every door in the cabin, with one of them being in the cellar. As he goes down there, he sees that one of the pipes is leaking blood. The blood from the pipe just pours over Ash as he screams, and blood just starts leaking everywhere, which finally leads us to the point in the film where the entire house just starts fucking with Ash, mentally torturing him. As Ash heads upstairs, he tries searching the house at first, but is immediately interrupted, giving us this excellent shot right here. The windows open and close on their own as Ash starts to really lose it, screaming. We get some great sound design here with the bars having a wavy sound to it as Ash walks under them. Finally, Ash looks at a mirror, trying to touch it. With Ash just about losing it, he remembers that he has the necklace in his pocket, and if only slightly, it brings him back to reality. Danny's grabbed with these ugly-ass looking arms, and not creepy and gory, they just look bad. While Ash is dealing with Cheryl and blocking the door, Scott returns as a deadite and immediately attacks Ash. He throws a small desk at Scotty, with the book being on top of it. While being choked by Scott, Ash decides to retaliate by digging his fingers into Scott's fucking eye holes. Holy shit! His unholy screams really put the brutality in this scene. Ash sees the book burning and goes to grab it, but Scott stops him by dragging him back. Ash grabs the necklace while being dragged and tries to guard the book with it. Scotty just digs into Ash's leg while Cheryl hits him with a fire poker. Ash finally gets the book and is finally able to toss it into the fire. The two just start fucking melting in stop motion, which look ugly as shit. Well, in a good way. With this weird pus coming from the bodies, it seems like the nightmare is finally over. With that, the nightmare is actually finally over. Ash walks outside to see the sun over the horizon, finally ending the Evil Dead. But we just can't have Ash rest yet, can we? In first person, the being heads towards Ash in this awesome one-shot taken as the camera flies through the house, attacking Ash and cutting to black, ending the Evil Dead. Evil Dead is a very important franchise to me. I've watched a few horror movies before these, but none of them have truly felt as special as this trilogy. But this first movie isn't perfect. It's very dated. The dialogue and acting are very stilted and overall just isn't very good. The effects and gore are a mixed bag. When they're good, they're phenomenal, but when they're bad, they're god-awful. Even with all that, I still enjoy this movie. There are very few horror movies in my opinion that can rival the first one when it comes to its scares and tension. And honestly, the low budget honestly helps it in this case. The Deadites are fucking nasty when it comes to their constant taunting and laughing, but that just makes them great antagonists to watch. The movie is just very campy, but in a fun way. It's very fun just to rewatch. So, 7 out of 10. It's far from perfect, but I can't help but loving it all the same. Thank you for watching this very special and experimental video, which was supposed to come out on October 31st. As you can see, I got very sick and lazy. It was mostly laziness. But, hey, better late than never, right? Happy very late Halloween. And also Thanksgiving, I guess. Maybe I can fucking get the Kirby video up by then. Oh god, please, I really want to get it out by then. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.